Hello, this is Mad Cat, and here's another shelter tips. The workers. So, any shelter you go to, there are two types of workers. Ones who can go home and ones who stay there. Now, the ones who go home tend to be chaplains. They might actually be people who assist around there that have been there long enough that they can actually find a home outside the shelter. And then you have people who work there that also sleep in the same place you do. Now, they tend to have a better area to sleep in. In Philadelphia, they had their own floor. Here in Detroit, they have their own barracks. I'm in Barrack C, the workers are in Barracks D. At least that's what I understand. But the thing is that the workers, it's really hit or miss, and it's mostly miss with them. And what I mean by this is that the workers, they don't like their life. And I don't blame them. They're basically 2 steps ahead of being on the street and 1 step ahead of us. But they are given a little bit of authority to try to corral the rest of us. But the problem is that because they don't like their life, because they're still staying there, because they don't really have the freedom to leave. I mean, they could leave, but, where would they go? So they have to stay there and eat the same food that we eat, sleep the same hours we sleep. There are shifts, but pretty much, is that really a happy life? And it's not. But the problem is I try to go to them because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go to them first before I go to the upper echelons to get anything done. In fact, I've been told directly to do that because I've tried going up to the higher ups to get things done. I want to see my caseworker. Well, I initially went to them and I'm like, hey, I need to see my caseworker. How do I go about doing that? Oh, just come back in the afternoon. The next day, which was yesterday, I, was going to be there for lunch, so I figured I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And even if I had to wait around for a little bit, that was fine. So I ate lunch, and then I asked the workers, okay, I need to see my caseworker. What do I need to do? Oh, well, you just need to wait until after lunch. Okay, fine. So I wait until lunch is done. Now, lunch that day was served 45 minutes late, which pisses me off because it shows an utter lack of respect. But that's another issue for another time. But so lunch actually ended. They're kicking people out. So I go back up to them and I'm like, well, you can wait in the TV room. It's like, I got to go back to work. I know I do online work, but, I can't just sit around and wait for something. I've got to be productive. And they're like, well, they come back at 3 o'clock. And I'm like, then why didn't someone, when I asked the person last night if there was I didn't ask him for a specific time, but he's like, come back in the afternoon. That's not really an answer. I thought what he was saying is that they're always available. Then I'm told that, if that was an important detail, which it is, I would think that the person's like, oh, you can come back and see them at 3. Not the afternoon, because the afternoon means to me pretty much from noon until 4 o'clock, not 3 p.m. Now, it is my fault that I didn't get a specific time the first time. But so I'm like, okay, if I've got to be here back at 3, and they're like, well, just come back tomorrow at 3. Okay, that was a specific time. So I come back tomorrow. Actually, that was yesterday. The lunch thing was the day before. So I come back yesterday at 3 p.m. to see my caseworker. Come to find out, the caseworker's not there until Saturday. Now, they have multiple caseworkers there. But, instead of the people looking up who my caseworker is, looking up their schedule, they just told me to come back at 3 p.m. the next day. I come back there, and because 3 p.m. is early check-in, I can't leave. So not only did I miss half a day of work, because I usually work until 7 o'clock and then I come back. So, I lacked about 5 or so hours worth of work because, I do leave early so I can make it there on time. So I missed out on 5 hours worth of work. And with my tight deadlines, I need every bit I can get to work on my projects. And, finally I had one of the upper echelons talk to me and give me the details in how to see my casework. Excuse me, a little bit of gas. So, and it's like every time I try to go ask one of them a question. Now, it's especially here where I have problems, but I've had problems back in Philadelphia. I try to ask a question and they act like I should already know. I've only been here for a week. Like, I've been here for 8 days and they act like that I should be a mind reader and I should understand every single rule. They give me a list of rules, but that doesn't cover everything. It doesn't cover, like how to deal with my sheets. It doesn't deal with how to see my caseworker. And the information the upper echelon gave me was definitely not covered on there. So it really pisses me off that, I try to go there for help. And yesterday, the person who's in charge, or at least I think he's like the second in command, the person in charge doesn't stop by. But the second in command, he comes by and is like telling us that we need to start acting like adults. Now, of course, it doesn't apply to me, and he kind of acknowledged, if this doesn't apply to you, don't take it personally, but, all the rest of us, you need to start acting like adults. And, it's like, maybe if you treated us like adults. He says, even though you're homeless, don't come in here acting like you're homeless. Come in here acting like you're trying to get off the streets. And that's fine. But, treat us like that. I mean, if I go up to someone and I ask a question, I should be able to get a straight answer. And I don't. I get the runaround. I'm sitting here thinking maybe I should just leave my job. Well, I won't have to worry about leaving my job because I'm going to be fired because I'm trying to deal with all this bullshit at this shelter instead of getting the actual help that I need. And I tell them I have a job, and that doesn't seem to faze them.